Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. For the Grue Rume Show today, I got a very cool guest, and her name is Ellen Frankenstein, and she has a a documentary coming out called Cruise Boom, and we're going to talk to her all about the film and about Alaska and cruises and everything else. It sounds like it's going to be a fun time. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host of Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Rume Show. And my interview with Ellen will be coming up very soon. This is my Grue Rume, and as always, welcome to my nightmare. So stay tuned. Here we go. All right. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time and coming on. I appreciate it.
I'm thrilled and honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I I can see you like to read. It looks like you got a lot of books.
But you sometimes you have to be suspicious. I was filming once and someone said, when you see a lot of books on the shelf, that's the ones no one's gotten around to reading yet.
Oh, okay.
But I do like to read.
Okay. What, are you reading any current books right now?
I'm reading this book called North Woods. It's
Okay.
been really popular. It's about a place in Massachusetts through many families and different people. It's good. It's a nice thick thing to read.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that you have a new film. It's coming out Cruise Boom. And what in inspired you to want to make the film?
We might say it's the opposite of inspiration. It
Okay.
was almost like a wave or tsunami coming to you in my adopted hometown. We were facing this incredible change uh because of a private dock that happened to be expanded in our town when people voted down a
Mhm.
public cruise ship dock, and suddenly the amount of cruise ships that were coming in were was like nothing we'd ever seen before.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you live
Wow.
in, where are you based? You're in,
Philadelphia.
okay. So in Philadelphia, when you get a lot of people in town, you might not notice, but if you live in an island town of 8,500 people
Yeah.
in Alaska, in a place where there's more bears than people, and suddenly the number of people getting off cruise ships is double, as much as lives in the town, it's a little bit more noticeable.
I I'm sure. Yes. Yeah. Like Philly, it's so big here that you hardly notice like if how many of the people are walking around, but you just think, oh, okay, it's people who live here, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what did you love about like being? What do you love about being in that that small town? Like you said, it's 8,500 pe people to live in the town. Like, what do you love most about that town?
Well, I came up here gradually. I came to collaborate on a film project and started doing sort of a community project with, there was a lot of prevention money, drug prevention money that artists got their hands into in the mid 90s. And my now partner husband said at the time, I said, I could never live here. I'm an urban, suburban, in your face street photographer. Yet years have passed and I'm here. And I think there's something about living amazing. I got to show this film Cruise Boom and also a film called Eating Alaska to some visiting John Hopkins students, environmental policy students who were in town. And I got to tell them that the little kid reading the labels in this funny and serious film about food called Eating Alaska was the person who did the graphics and animation for Cruise Boom. So I get to have a long history with people, and that teaches you a lot.
Oh wow, okay, okay. So I mean, if someone would want to go visit there, like, what do you think is like the tourist spots, like for anyone who wants to visit the town?
Well, it's interesting. I Cruise Boom, this film is about to stream on PBS, and I kind of want people to watch it and think about how they travel. I know some people love cruise ships,
Yeah.
So I don't want to knock on them too much, but I do want them to kind of think about what it is to come to a small town. So I say, if you can, come as an independent traveler, hang out, find a, it's great to know people, come and do some local events, see what's going on. We have things that happen here. We have music events, we have plays,
Oh wow.
but there's also like a raptor center and there's science center, eat
Oh,
locally, take a hike.
oh wow. Okay, that sounds fun. That does. It sounds fun. I like that.
So you're coming up?
I would love to, but I know it's a little pricey to fly from Philly to Alaska.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if the flights were cheap, I definitely would have done it. Excuse me. I developed a cough from the hernia the operation.
Oh,
So one okay, good. Fine now. So why do you think there's been such a a huge surge of cruise ships coming in and out of this little town, and of course with cruise ships comes a lot of people.
well, I think worldwide, I don't know if you've noticed in the news that the term over tourism is everywhere. I mean, maybe it's because I ended up making a film about it, but Barcelona, Bali, Greece, and it's not all cruise ships, but there's, especially post-pandemic, there was kind of I came upon this term called revenge tourism that people felt I deserve to travel because I haven't been able to. And people are excited to travel. And in doing the outreach on this film, this a cultural studies professor sort of brought up to me that there's been a lot of commodification of how we do things, and we're
Okay.
running out of things to privatize. So travel and the experiences of things we do with our friends and family has also become something we buy. And a lot of people like cruising because you don't have to, you just get on the cruise and it's
Sure.
packaged and you stay on it and it's sometimes cheaper and easier than independent travel. Um, Alaska is a place, one thing, the Red Sea is a little complicated right now. So that's not happening. And the cruise lines have been really pushing. Like our town was seen as an unfriendly town to cruise ships, but they got their way in here. And this summer, the cruise lines came into two new cities or towns in Alaska, a place called
Oh
Nome,
wow.
Gold Rush Town. You probably all have heard people have heard of Balto the dog, and also a little town called Cloac. And so they're just really pushing to kind of um, use Alaska as a place to send people and make
Wow.
money
Why
off. Yeah.
why do you think like I mean, because Alaska's been around a very long time. Like why do you think all of a sudden now like it's the
So now I'm a
place that people
transplant. Yeah, but why now?
yeah.
I don't know. You look at like certain trends, like all of a sudden we're eating kiwis, and you know what I mean? Think about it. It's sort of like it's all about marketing. All of a sudden,
That's true.
think of something like I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that's in Pet Rocks was a long time ago. But you know how I think also the concepts I have a writer who may do a piece with me about bucket lists and the
Yeah.
concepts that we have to do things before we die, or we have to have these things we want to do. And I never knew the term bucket list until I saw Shanks Shaw Redemption, but now people are talking about, So what's on your bucket list? Do you have a
Me?
bucket list? Yeah.
Like for places to travel?
Anything could be in a bucket list. It could be like
Ah,
you want to be one of those billionaires who goes to space.
yeah, no, I mean, space. I would like to see what's over there, or land on Mars or something. But I definitely like you mentioned Bali. Bali is somewhere I definitely want to visit, and I'm Italian, so I definitely want to go see Italy. And to Tokyo's been a place like that I've always dreamed about going to, because I love their their way of life, like the way they live, and seeing how they live there and stuff. And so yeah, that's like another place that I would love to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I don't think I really answered well why Alaska now, but that's what I'm not really sure, but I think it's really fun to have places that you want to go to.
Oh
I
yeah.
think for me, as someone who creates things, I think my head is my bucket list. Like it's always something I want to make. Like I have a weird one of my weird masks up there. I
Ooh,
want to
that's
get
nice.
this.
I like that.
Yeah, so I want to get this film. Cruise Boom is going to be on PBS. It's on Canopy if you go to public libraries. The push to get the film out, and then I want to like make something with my hands, and I want to make some weird experimental shorts, and I do a live storytelling series. So I sort of feel sometimes I have a lot of friends who talk about all the places they want to travel, and I feel
Mhm.
kind of boring because I'm not really good at shopping or like planning vacations. I kind of flunked capitalism, which is funny because I just made a film about capitalism.
But like those masks, I mean that looks really nice. Like when did you start making masks?
Why don't I, or why did I?
Uh, when when did you start making masks?
Well, part of it had to do. Um, can can I go off stage for a minute?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, I
definitely,
want to get you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm coming back. Okay. So after the 2016 election,
Oh wow,
I mean,
that's
these are a
nice.
little bit primitive. I was a little bummed.
Yeah.
So this this is kind of I started making almost therapeutic masks. You might guess what I was thinking with this mask.
I,
Maybe.
I think I could tell the way it's like shaped. Yeah.
So so yeah. So I'm not as good at bucket lists as many others.
So you must love Halloween season. Do you dress up and put masks on and stuff?
Well, my last name is Frankenstein. So
Well,
I was
yeah.
born for Halloween.
So I guess that's probably the horror movie you like to watch, huh?
I guess so. That or kind of Freddy Krueger type films.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
that's like my best time of the year is Halloween season. Like I absolutely love it, and I love all the haunts and dressing up and everything that comes with it. Like it's amazing. I love it.
And who do you have on your show during Halloween?
I usually try to find like horror films that are coming out, and I find like the people in charge of the film and ask if I could interview them and the actors in the film because I like to make like the whole month of Oc- October dedicated to like horror.
Well, you just gave me this idea. So I just made Cruise Room is the story of this town trying to cope with these cruise ships coming to
Yes,
town.
exactly.
So maybe I need to make a film where everyone getting off a cruise ship is a zombie.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome.
So I need to find someone to like, whatever sponsor. I think that would be great.
Yes. That would
Because
be really awesome. Like that would be nice.
because I think my favorite is Shaun of the Dead. Am I saying it right? That was such a
Oh
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I haven't done horror. I do a lot of projects with s- students and high schoolers. I love working with high schoolers. And
Okay.
years and years ago with the alternative school here, uh, we made a horror film, and the premise was because we were just trying to think what it was. The people were going to the Pepsi machine and they drink Pepsi and they turned into zombies.
Oh, that is smart. I like that.
And they were teenagers who came up with it. Of course, I'm such a fun nutter that I had all these students lying around on the floor watching horror shows, horror films, and like the kind of stuffy superintendent of the schools comes on a tour and sees me with all the kids lying around the floor watching horror movies. But for teenagers, right, is actually a perfect genre because you're
Oh
betwixt and
yeah.
between, and you feel kind of unwanted, and so horror is like it's a great genre to work, to talk about with kids
Oh,
and to let them
definitely.
explore.
definitely. And if you watch like a lot of horror movies, it mainly is like the teenagers that are like the main cast.
Oh, so I need teenage zombies to get off the. Oh, one thing they're saying about cruise ship is they're pushing. One thing about cruise ships is they say people take cruises, and I don't want to insult anyone who's listening. Are the overfed, the nearly dead, and the newlywed? But okay, but they're trying to get a younger. They're saying their younger people are going, and they're marketing that. So maybe in this
Okay.
zombie movie, we need younger newlyweds and teenagers to be the zombies. So you're just giving me these ideas because one thing
I
about
like
making a
this.
film, you make an independent film, especially if the longer the credits are, the more independent a film is. So the
Yeah.
the idea from this film is over three.
Oh,
Nope, did I lose you? Did we
yeah,
freeze?
yeah. It went out for like a second. Okay, you're good now.
Oh, good.
I see you moving again.
I'm drinking raw water, and here's a little plug for a public radio station,
Oh, okay, sweet.
Raven Radio.
You know, it's funny. Like I was just on a cruise ship just recently. It was, well, not recently. It was like about 5 months back. Because besides horror, I'm also like a big fan of professional wrestling and like
Oh, wow.
heavy metal music too. And this wrestler, Chris Jericho, he runs a cruise every year where he puts a wrestling ring on the ship and he has live wrestling and then he has a stage with rock bands. And I have to say, it was so much fun. It really was.
Where'd the cruise go?
I flew to Florida and it picked us up in Florida and went to Mexico and back to Florida.
That sounds fun. Was it a big cruise ship?
Yeah, yeah. It was oh God, what was it called now? The Royal Caribbean, I think it was. It was like one of those.
Oh, so you're a cruiser. Are you gonna go on another cruise?
I don't know because it was pricey, but like
Oh,
I I don't think I could do a regular cruise because I would be bored if I went on a regular cruise. Like this had what I liked. Like it had live wrestling and live bands, and as long as it has a good theme to it, I could probably do it. Oh, I think I lost you again.
oh, we're
There we
back.
go. Okay, we're back.
So, so do you feel if you hadn't been on a cruise ship, would it have mattered? Could you have like had everyone meet in Florida, or did you need to be on a cruise ship to enjoy this?
No, you could have probably had everyone meet up in Florida, and it would have been just as fun because I mean you had wrestling and you had rock and roll. I mean you can't like that's what I love. That was fun. Like you on one side you had wrestling, then when the wrestling's over, you run over to the other side of the ship and there was the stage and there was bands, and then another floor had like more bands, and then another room had karaoke, and another room was like dance music, and then back to the wrestling again.
Wow, that sounds pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was. So when you were making this film, like, did you learn anything about like the town or the cruise lines that you didn't know going into making the film?
Oh, let's see. I think, well, one thing is I've made a lot of films about very serious issues. I've
Hmm.
made a film called Car from the Heart that was made with an indigenous activist as co-producer that went to the Sundance Film Festival and was on independent lens on, and it was all about grief and healing and substance abuse. I made a
Oh,
film with
wow.
and about teenagers after Columbine called No Loitering, and it brought up self-mutilation and mental health issues. So this topic is so different. People who
Mhm.
are traveling are happy unless they're complainers. And the people that work in tourism are so upbeat until they get exhausted. So that was not that I was surprising, but it was kind of fun. I mean, I actually enjoy the darker those issues that feel really important to talk
Yeah,
about a bit
definitely.
more than this topic, though this is an important topic to think about how you balance economic opportunities with like the soul of a place. But I don't know if I learned that much. I mean, it's showing the film is kind of fascinating because I've
Mhm.
learned one thing: people don't have a clue sometimes about how multinationals work and how corporations that are multinationals might be registered offshore and they don't have to follow certain labor laws and their operations are a little bit. And the other thing is talking to people, they don't think about the impact their travel has on the people that they visit. So they don't realize. One funny thing I learned, there's a part of the film at the end of the scene where a really nice tourist starts petting this fisherman's dog as he's going down the
Mhm.
dock. And then I realized all the people in town are exhausted by friendly tourists who want to make contact, but there's thousands of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they come up and pet their dogs. So people with dogs are starting to hide from the tourists. It's a
Oh,
small point on the scale of things. Um, and I think one of my faults in the film, I mean, it's not a hard, scathing deconstruction of the cruise ship industry, but it's hard to find data about what the really economic impact is. It's a little bit fuzzy because the only
mhm.
way you know how much a tourist has spent is to actually ask them.
That's true.
And and sort of capturing the environmental impact is really tricky because you really have to have a ground thing. I mean, there are studies worldwide, but
Yeah.
it's not great. I mean, there's a lot of things with scrubbers where they say they're not polluting in the water, so they put it in the air. And I'm not an official expert on these things, but I think I almost could have learned more.
Okay, okay.
The film is kind of an impressionistic, it's sort of a study of a community over a year and a half as we realize that we're never going to be the same, that
Yeah,
we're entering
exactly.
we're becoming a different place.
Yeah, I mean, what was once a small town is getting like all this traffic now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sort of funny, like if you're traveling and you mention where you live, a lot of people go, well, you haven't heard of it, but now they go, I've been there, and I'll go, how many hours? It's one of the questions is like when I travel, I mean, I also have a background in anthropology, which is all about doing field work. So
Yeah,
you like to plop. And so when I travel, I like to go because I have a reason to be there and I like to plop. I'd rather be in one place a week than 7 places in 7 days. That's just me. And one of the arguments is that people take cruises will come back and stay longer. But I kind of want to get to know a place.
yeah.
And what can you get to know? And so another thing I did, I also do a storytelling series like The Moth called Sitka Tells Tales, which is you can find on a podcast, on all the podcast platforms. But for fun, last summer we did an reverse tourism where I kind of harassed tourists, and I one of the things I asked is where they take me if I ended up in their community for 4 to 6 hours, and I got some pretty fun answers.
I'm sure the answers are pretty over the top, right?
Yeah, the barbecue came up a lot, haggis in Scotland, but also people like talking about where they take me in the South or, what they'd show me. So it's an experiment in reverse tourism. It's on Sitka Tells Tales and on the artchangeinc.org website. So that was a fun project.
Oh wow, sweet.
Yeah, I had fun.
Excuse me. Okay.
Oh yeah. You should drink some water. Drink some
I
water.
know, I know. I did drink water before this. And what do you hope fans get from fans take from watching the film?
Well, I don't know if they'll be fans from this type of film. Just again thinking about well, I sort of made the film and I had this wonderful co-producer named Atman Mehta. He's a young fellow from Mumbai he actually applied to be an intern for another project and I rejected him, though I really liked him, but he seemed too intellectual for me for that project. So he came back to collaborate. So he helped make this film. And anyway, you're asking me what I hope people get from it.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that you have choices in how you travel, that you have an impact when you travel, and that you know business is business, but corporate that the model of cruise ships, it's it's hard to know it's trick how much is really trickling to a community. So I think it's those choices that's like, do you go to Starbucks or go to the local coffee shop? Now I have errors and admission insurance that I got that was expensive. I don't think Art Change, my nonprofit, can be sued for saying this, but I think we should try to make choices. And the things we also have to think about is that the US is very kind to corporations.
Hmm.
We are not heavily regulating them. And we don't care if they conglomerate or whatever. That's not a good word. But if we look like what's going on in the grocery store world right now, it's hard on a consumer. And I don't
Oh,
think,
it is.
yeah, I don't think corporations are altruistic. Do you?
I don't know. You're absolutely right. Like you go to a grocery store and you need to take out a second mortgage just to pay a bill for the groceries now. It's crazy.
Well, don't come up here. It's even worse. How much is a gallon of milk in Philly?
Oh, in Philly, it's at like four something, like 445, 455, something around there.
Okay, if you want to get an organic gallon of milk here, no way it's going to be less than $8.
Oh my God, are you serious? Wow. What
Yeah,
about
it's
the milk that isn't organic?
probably 6. I tend to
Really?
buy organic milk. I don't
Well,
drink that
yeah,
much milk, but organic's a whole nother issue because you do feel like you have to like sometimes get a loan to
I
eat
know.
milk. And that's another issue. Uh, explored. I had really fun some years ago. I made this film called Eating Alaska, which is also on Canopy, which is a funny and serious film about being a vegetarian who ends up in Alaska. And I wander through the state, and there's really fun food maps in it. And I bring up serious issues, but I'm also really funny because I try to go hunting
Oh
because I
God.
feel like it makes sense if I'm going to live in Alaska, but I can't do it. I'm giving away the, and that was a lot more fun of a film to show because it's funny,
Okay.
but it also brings up issues that we all need to deal with what we choose to stick in our mouth.
That's true. Yeah. And you mentioned like, would you rather go to a local coffee shop or Starbucks? I love the local coffee shops. Going into like a local coffee shop that's not a chain,
Yeah.
it has a different feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. Yeah, and it's hard because we sometimes people want to go to a McDonald's or a Starbucks because know what you're gonna get,
Yeah.
and other things can be unpredictable, and people have to have jobs and they work in these places, but it is always better, I think, to try to go a little, not corporate.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, sadly in Philly there aren't many local coffee shops anymore. Like a lot of them closed down because there's so many Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks now, and they're basically taking over everything. And like we pro in Philly, we probably have like I could count on one hand the amount of like local coffee shops that we actually have here. Like it's crazy.
It's wild.
Hmm. And, and I love coffee, so.
That's great. You're sharing your cough with me, so I have to drink more water.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you can do that through Zoom.
I don't know. You never know. And what about like songs? Like what kind of music is on your playlist?
Oh, good point. Okay, one thing I should say is we actually have, can you pull up Bandcamp?
Bandcamp? I mean, like not on here
Wait,
now
I could play a song. Let me see if I can I can actually play a song and it'll go through
Oh,
because
okay.
let me see, let me go to my website. But one thing about the film is I very purposely decided there'd be two kinds of sound.
Okay.
There's a sound that's kind of folky and bluesy-ish. That represents the town. Then I have a sound that
Oh.
represents change and tourism. So whoops, let me play. It's on, do you ever go to band camp?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We have, if you go, there's a thing, it's a soundtrack done by, Brian Lovett and Graham LeBron called Cruise Boom. Let me see if I can get this to play. Here's, can you hear?
I don't hear anything yet.
Oh, you can't get it. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. Can you get,
Oh,
do you hear it?
no, no.
Okay. Well, I thought I could play it over the Zoom. I don't know why it wasn't playing, but
I
um
think Zoom's weird because I remember one time someone wanted to play a song for me, like I had a music artist on,
yeah.
and as soon as they went to sing and play the guitar, like Zoom wouldn't do it for some reason, and I couldn't hear them, and I had to tell them, oh no, wait, no, I can't hear you.
Oh, you know what I wonder? Oh, now I'm getting now I can't I just want to see because Bandcamp is very I love Bandcamp, but I one thing I love about making these independent films is when I do get to work with musicians and
Yeah,
they just get what you're trying to do so often. Get the spirit of and making the music that fits. Let's see. Let's see. Let's do this. See, I want to just see. I'm just really curious.
I know. I'm curious too. Like I'm looking at my settings to see if there's like anything you can do with that, but it doesn't look like it.
Can you hear it?
Very, very faintly. Like I don't know what it is with Zoom and music. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah. Wow, you
Yeah.
can't hear.
No. No.
Aren't they tricky? Now we're learning something about Zoom. But
I
this is
know.
that I license, so it's okay that I use it. And I love my musicians.
Yeah. 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 Like it's really weird. Like when it comes to like music playing on Zoom, they I don't know what they do. There's like a setting where they mute it out.
Wow. Wow. But you can share a screen.
I think you can. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just so curious.
I see it. I see it. Okay.
Oh yeah, but it's not playing. I don't know how to get it to. Oh wait. We need someone to tell us what to do.
I know. Like I have no clue. Like I'm not the right person to ask about this.
Tell me if you're getting it. No,
I mean, I see everything. I just don't hear it. Yeah, nothing. I
I'm
mean,
just yeah.
I see all the tracks on there, but like no music is coming through.
So interesting.
Isn't it
Well,
though?
yeah. Wow. Uh, so interesting.
Yeah, like
Well, that was a failure.
I don't even know what to do to like change the setting on that because I'm looking like there's nothing that says like allow music or anything.
But people should I think we are not as technical as we should be.
I know.
Um,
I know. No, no, that definitely is me. I'm not great with all this stuff.
well, yeah, it's not letting me do it. Oh well.
Yeah.
But you see it on the screen. Can I guess I need to get out of it.
Oh yeah, I definitely see it on the screen. Yeah.
Okay, but now oh we got to stop share. Okay. We need someone to yeah. Anyway, it's really fun talking with you.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like you're really easy to chat with. You're you're very funny too, and that's what I like. I love talking to someone who can actually like be funny and have a good time with. Oh, I think I lost you again. Oh wait, okay, you're good. Now that this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. And the last question I'm going to ask you is basically where can fans follow you and follow the film at?
Well, one thing is to go to Instagram, and there's two places. There's Cruise Boom Film, and then a Cruise Boom, I think it's Cruise Boom Film, or 14 Miles Alaska, and that's 14 Miles Alaska. And also my little nonprofit that I run, someone else came up with the title. It's kind of boring. It's Art Change, one word, Inc. So you can go to artchangeinc.org. And you also can find Sitka Tells Tales on Spotify, Apple, wherever your podcasts are. And your podcast is everywhere too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
I'm
It's you
yeah.
know, Spotify and Apple and wherever else that podcasts are at. I don't know. I just go through like this one app and it brings it to like all the different podcast things. I don't know.
It's an amazing world. And we don't know where things go. And I gotta say one thing before I get off. It's so interesting. I started out in the dark room doing a lot of photography, doing black and white photography, and everything was so like, not analog. And it's
Yeah.
so interesting. This is the first time, every so often I have a film that goes out on public broadcasting. This is the first time it's going to be on pbs.org. And I think it's really exciting because people can, you know, a kind of obscure documentary will be lost on YouTube, and I got to say that places like Netflix and Prime are not going to go for a little film. I keep
Oh
saying
no. Yeah. Exactly.
they like celebrities and crime
Hmm.
films created by celebrities, and so a film like this doesn't get on, but PBS I still feel has a little cachet.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
So I'm excited. It'll be open and accessible to the world for 3 months, starting Saturday the 14th. And I'm just excited that people take a look at this film that's all mostly shot in Sitka, Alaska, 99835.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And good good luck with the film being watched and happy Halloween season.
I'll be thinking of you on Halloween. It's been really fun talking with you, and I hope you heal well from your hernia and your cough
Oh
too.
my God. Yeah, I hope this gets better fast because I'm not liking it at all.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So we're